we're going to do 2a after we do the unit circle, and right now we're just going to do 2b. Determine the approximate values of the 6 trig ratios for 586 degrees. So they want us to figure out the regular ones. What is sine of 586 degrees, cos of 586 degrees, and tan of 586 degrees. We'll be able to use our calculator. And then we also want to find cosecant of 586 degrees, secant of 586 degrees, and cotangent of 586 degrees. Well, if I want to find to the nearest thousandth sine of 586 degrees, I can go to my calculator, hit sine 586. If you are not getting negative 0.719 on your calculator, then you're probably not in degrees. So check this out, type that in. Can you get negative 0.719 to the nearest thousandth on your calculator? Same thing, check cos. Cos of 586 degrees, negative 0.695. And tangent of 586 degrees, positive 1.036. Yes, not getting those? So if you're not getting those, most likely your calculator right now is not in degrees, it's in radians. If you have a graphing calculator, you can change it by hitting the mode button and scrolling down and pushing enter on degree to make sure degree is highlighted. If it's on radians, you're in radians. We're going to learn about radians this year, and you'll have to switch whatever calculator you have, switch back and forth between degrees and radians, degrees and radians. Now, when we go to our calculator for cosecant, we don't have a cosecant button. Ugh. However, we know that the definition of cosecant is that it's 1 over sine. So if I want to figure out cosecant of 586, I can just do 1 divided by sine of 586. And I get negative 1.390. Same thing for secant. I can do 1 divided by cos of 586, negative 1.440. And finally, cotangent of 586 would be 1 divided by tangent of 586, 0.965. We've got our answers here. I'm going to add a few other questions. Where is 586 degrees? It's more than 360, so if we're in standard position, it would go once around the circle. Would it end in quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4? Quadrant 3. How did you do that? How did we get quadrant 3? There's a couple of ways. Okay, you're doing 360 plus 226, and I know 226 is in quadrant 3. It would be coterminal with 200. Good. Is there other ways that you could tell it's in quadrant 3? Yeah, 586 minus the 360 leaves you with the 226, and that has to be in quadrant 3, so that matches up. Can anybody tell me that if I gave you these answers, but I blurred out the 586, the answers tell us it's in quadrant 3? Yeah, sine was negative, cos was negative, tan was positive. The only place that happened, according to the cast rule, the only thing that's positive is tan, is the t in the cast rule, which is in quadrant 3. So we could also use our answers to tell us that it was in quadrant 3. Right. If I drew the angle in quadrant 3 and a triangle, something I was doing with my grade 10s today, and you just figured out that sine was 0.719, could you draw a triangle that has 0.719? What length would you put on it? Does it make sense that I in here? That 0.719, sine always means the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. I need to make some number on the opposite divided by some number on the hypotenuse equal to 0.719. 1,000, because that was like an easy thing to do, right? Had I done 72 over 100, it would be pretty close. But 6 over 50 would work, or 8 over 25. Those would all be close, but not exact. So while we're doing this, we're still trying to remember, what does trigonometry mean in all of its things and how it's connected. Okay, so the only ones to do that you can circle right now, just 7b. In your textbook, sometimes you're going to get an answer. For example, here, let's just, Sometimes you might get an answer like, I got 1.73, and the textbook got square root of 3. Am I right? Well, you might have to type square root of 3 into your calculator to check. So, for example, the question said, find tan of 60. So you went, okay, 1.732050808. But the textbook's answer said square root of 3. So right now, we just can do the decimals. If they have a, type it in to double check if they're the same. Eventually, you'll be able to just see tan of 60 and tell me it's root 3 from memory right away. Okay? Be like, cos of 225 degrees, negative square root of 2 over 2. And I'll just be like, well, it probably won't be that fast right away. But you'll have to have those all right away.